dear viewers, and welcome to this special edition of our program, Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to talk about the visit by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to Greece and the joint press conference which was held a few minutes ago with the Foreign Minister of Greece to shed light about the Egyptian-Greek relations and the visit by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to Greece. We are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, our political analyst. Dr. Ezaby, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, how do you see the importance of the current visit by Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to Greece? As he mentioned in the joint press conference a few minutes ago on the deep-rooted history between both countries and the strategic relations between Egypt and Greece. What's your take on that, sir?
Well, the relations between Egypt and Greece were very old, and we have a great history between Egypt and Greece in relation about political, about economic. In many fields, we have a relations between Egypt and Greece. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry traveled to Greece last Sunday to strengthen Egypt-Greek relations and engage in discussion on regional and global matters, especially efforts to resolve the ongoing Gaza war. According to Ahmed Abu Zaid, the spokesperson for Egyptian Foreign Ministry, Shoukry visited to Greece, reaffirmed the strategic ties between the two countries. It also underscores the mutual commitment of Egypt and Greece for further enhance their robust and growing relationship.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, also the foreign minister said that they are tackling himself and the Greek foreign minister, boosting cooperation between both Egypt and Greece. And we know, of course, that we are having bilateral cooperation in many economic fields, as well as our cooperation regarding the security of the East Mediterranean. How do you see the future cooperation between both countries?
Well, the relation between Egypt and Greece in the economic field started in cooperation in the field of gas and Mediterranean Sea, and cooperated in many fields of this field, especially Egypt takes the gas from Greece to Egypt, then to oiled it and transported it to Ukraine through the transmission place, gas. The fields of cooperation also between Egypt and Greece held in political and economic domains, and can operate on joint development initiative at both the bilateral and trilateral review with Cyprus. We know that Egypt and Greece and Cyprus make a forum of Mediterranean gas, of Mediterranean Sea with Egypt, and we are now cooperated with Greece and Cyprus in the field of discovering gas in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes, of course. Sir, also Foreign Minister Shoukry said that Egypt and Greece agrees on the immediate ceasefire in Gaza Strip and allowing the humanitarian aid. How do you see the cooperation between both sides in order to find, as the Foreign Minister said, that we are having discussions and we are inviting the international community for an immediate political solution to the crisis with the two-state solution and a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, the capital of Palestine?
Well, from 7th October, Egypt announced that we refused the idea of transporting Palestinians outside of Palestine and outside Gaza. If it happens, it will end the Palestinian issue. So Egypt made many efforts to cease fire last effort make it that Egypt made is the negotiations between Hamas and Israel to put a hold and ceasefire and the transport the prisoners between Gaza, between Hamas and Israel.
Yes.
And then Israel refused it. There is a situation between Egypt and Greece. They assisted and assured that the solution of two countries is the main idea to end the struggle between Hamas and Israel. They also, the president of Greece attended the conference of peace, which held in Egypt when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announced to make it after 7th October. The ideas between Egypt and Greece in this field or in this issue they agreed to must ceasefire now to rescue the civilians which live in Gaza.
Yes. Also, the two top diplomats talked about the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip and how the escalation of the military operations by the Israeli sides bordering the Rafah border crossing is preventing the entry of humanitarian aid into the Strip. How do you see the humanitarian situation in Gaza and how the international community should interfere in order to find a solution for the very alarming situation there?
Well, people of Gaza live under a very hard situation, human situation. They no aid, no human aid to reach to the people in Gaza after Israel closed all cross-borders such as Rafah and areas and many cross-borders. Israel closed it and insisted to enter the human aid through the port which United States made in Ashdod port. So all people in Gaza now live under pressure. They didn't find pure water. They didn't find food. We are about to see a disaster in Gaza, so that Shukri and the Foreign Minister of Greece assured that they need to ceasefire to enter the human aid to Palestinian people who live in Gaza now, and by and now they assured that all countries must press on Israel to enter the human aid.
Yes. Sir, also the two top diplomats discussed the files of illegal immigration and protecting the Egyptian shores, which was done by Egypt starting 2016, as the foreign minister mentioned. The boats carrying illegal migrants were prevented totally almost from entering the European space. The entering of illegal migrants to the European states. How do you see the efforts exerted by Egypt so far? And what the foreign minister mentioned, that we need more support from the international community in order to further prevent the illegal immigration to the European shores.
Egypt, from the beginning of starting this issue, illegal immigration, Egypt made a very great effort to prevent illegal immigration. We see that Egypt arrested many people who tried to make illegal immigration in Kafr Sheikh, in Alexandria. They prevented the illegal immigration to Libya. Then they tried to travel to Italy. Egypt had made a very great effort to prevent this illegal immigration. So we need the help of European countries to help us to prevent it. So we try to make a safe situation between Egypt and all European countries to try to solve this problem and prevent it at all.
Yes. Dr. Ezaby, also the foreign minister talked about a common will between both countries to increase and enhancing the political and economic cooperation between both countries. How do you see the cooperation between both countries on the political and the societal levels as well?
Well, Egypt and Greece try to make a cooperation in many fields of political issues. They made a situation about the area's issues. They try to solve many problems in this area. They try to prevent the war to extend to other countries, to be a great war. Egypt made a cooperation between all European countries to make a pressure on Israel to try to cease fire and prevent this war to extend to Lebanese, to Iran, to Yemen. So we have a same situation between Egypt and Greece in this field, and we try to assure that we need to stop this war immediately before it extends to other countries.
Yes. As you have kindly mentioned, Doctor, that the foreign minister said that we should unite our efforts, both Egypt and Greece, in order to stop widening the circles of violence from spreading to the whole region from the Gaza war. What's your take on that?
Well, yesterday we saw that the Iranian president's air crash. Some people say that it was a crime. If it is real, it means that the struggle will extend between Israel and Iran. So Egypt and Greece, we try to make a great effort to prevent this war to extend to other countries. So they assure to cease fire because when this war happened, we saw that Houthi shot many ships in Red Sea, and it make a pressure on Suez Canal. So we need to cease fire to stop all operations from Houthi, from Hezbollah, to make a peace conference to stop this war and prevent it to extend to other wars.
Yes. Finally, Doctor, how do you see the future cooperation between Cairo and Athens?
I thought that the future of cooperation is a great relation between Egypt and Greece. So we will make a cooperation in many fields because all the points of view are equal between Egypt and Greece according to ancient relations between two countries.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, our political analyst, thank you so much for being with us and for your precious input, sir. And the Turkish ambassador to Egypt revealed that the Turkish investments in Egypt have reached $500 million in the past 2 years and are expected to double in the coming period. More details in the following report.
Turkish investments in Egypt have reached $500 million in the past 2 years and are expected to double in the coming period. This surge is fueled by the arrival of hundreds of new Turkish companies eager to establish a foothold in Egypt's manufacturing sector. These companies aim to cater to the Egyptian market and leverage Egypt's strategic location as a gateway and to export their products to African, European and international markets. This expansion is poised to generate significant hard currency for Egypt and contribute to the growth of its economy. Sen said that as many as 240 Turkish companies aim to have major investments in Egypt and that 10 companies have already begun investing. He also highlighted the ongoing communications with the General Investment Authority, the Free Zones, and the Ministry of Industry to increase joint investment and use local currency for joint trade. Furthermore, the Turkish ambassador said that factories in Cairo export 60% of its products to foreign markets, while the remaining 40% are sold locally. On a different note, he praised Egypt's location as an ideal for Turkey to ready-made clothing companies. This strategic partnership allows Turkish companies to access these vast markets while contributing to further solidifying Egypt's role as a global investment hub.
South Sudan government and rebel groups signed commitment for peace in ongoing peace talks in Kenya. The government of South Sudan and the rebel opposition groups on Thursday signed a commitment declaration for peace during the high-level mediation talks which took place in Kenya.
The government of South Sudan and rebel opposition groups signed a commitment declaration for peace during high-level mediation talks in Kenya. The agreement is a key step in efforts to end the conflict in South Sudan that has long crippled its economy. The content of the agreement was not made public during the signing ceremony, attended by diplomats and civil society groups. The rebel opposition groups were not part of the 2018 agreement that ended South Sudan's 5-year civil war that left 400,000 people dead and millions displaced. Kenya's Foreign Office said the agreement was the first milestone in the ongoing talks in which warring sides pledged their commitment to end the violence and hostilities. At the start of the high-level mediation talks launched a week ago, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir thanked his Kenyan counterpart Ruto for hosting the negotiations. South Sudan is due to hold elections in December but remains politically fragile, in part because the 2018 peace agreement is yet to be fully implemented and because conflict and violence continue in different parts of the country over ethnic and political differences.
According to Clementine Salami, a top UN official, the situation in Sudan is dire with widespread violence and suffering. The country is facing brutal violence, famine, disease and displacement affecting almost 9 million people.
The situation in Sudan is dire with widespread violence and suffering. According to Salami, a top UN official, the country is facing brutal violence, famine, disease and displaced affecting almost 9 million people. Tensions between the military and paramilitary forces erupted into conflict in April 2023, resulting in over 14,000 deaths and 33,000 injuries. The Rapid Support Forces control most of Darfur and are besieging the capital. Salami emphasized the urgent need to humanitarian aid, warning of the risk of widespread starvation and death. With just 6 weeks before the lean season begins, the situation is crucial. More funding is urgently needed to address the escalating crisis. On April 15th, donors pledged $2.1 billion in humanitarian aid for Sudan, but Salami said the UN's $2.7 billion humanitarian appeal to help nearly 15 million of the country's 58 million people is just 12% funded. She said food, water and medicine are desperately needed in El Fasher, which is now completely surrounded. As an example of the difficulties the United Nations and other aid agencies face, she said a UN convoy with more than a dozen trucks carrying critical supplies for 120,000 people left Port Sudan on April 3rd, but still hasn't reached El Fasher because of insecurity, checkpoints and delays in getting clearances. Salami urged the parties engaged in fighting in and around El Fasher to stop back to prevent what would be a catastrophic impact to the civilian population.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of our program Africa Today. Many thanks for watching.